What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, R.W. Coolins. Uh, I'm not okay. I'm not okay in the aspect of what's going on right now in our country, in our communities, with our people. You know, there's a lot of miscommunication. There's a lot of exposure for where people stand right now. And as a black man, I'm not okay. You know, I've seen debates on TV, debates on Facebook, on social media platforms as well. I'm hearing debates at my job. And in the position, and I don't like to get into this, but in the position I sit in where I'm over these people that are having these debates at my job, you want to give them a chance to express how they feel, but where do you cut it off at? Because everybody has an opinion. Everybody has a strong opinion about who, what, when, where, and why. With what's going on with the murder. Just call it what it is. The murder of George Floyd. I've heard comments about he had a long record, criminal record. I heard comments about he wasn't a good guy. And then I hear comments of people saying that, the protesters are out here putting him on a pedestal like he was this great guy and this and that and, trying to seem like right, wrong, and different. He didn't deserve to live. That's the way it comes off to me. Now, this is my opinion on how people are viewing it when they get into this aspect of talking about his criminal record, his background, things he did in his past, and him having, supposedly wanting to start over, what he had in his system, all these different things they want to put into the equation, which are there. But the one question I ask those people is, does that justify his murder? Does it justify the murder of George Floyd? Some will say yes. I sit back and right now, and I'm going to transition a little bit. Everyone who knows me knows I'm a veteran. And I have two flags in my home. One that draped the coffin of my father, John Collins, because he was a veteran. So that was the one flag. That was my first introduction to United States flag that draped a coffin. The other flag was the one that was presented to me when I retired from my 21 and a half years of service. But I have to tell you, over the last, and I won't even say over the last 3.5 years, I won't even say it's been that short amount of time. It's been a long time that there's been something that's been unsettled with me when I look at that flag, both of those flags. And it's not anything that takes away my honorable service. It's not anything that takes away from the service of my father. It's just something about that flag at this time, with the controversy surrounding Kaepernick, with the controversy surrounding, President Barack Obama when he served, as far as the birther movement, all these different things that I take into account, that when I look at that flag, I have questions now. You know, and as I said, I served my country honorably for 21 and a half years. Knew when I was in ninth grade that that's what I wanted to do. When I chose to serve my country, it wasn't about the flag. It was about me going in the military to help defend the freedoms, and listen to the key word I'm saying here, to help defend the freedoms that everyone in the United States is supposed to have. And I say supposed to have. Someone will say, you do have? But I'm going to give you a couple stories of while I was serving in active duty that I kind of brushed off at the time, but as time went on, they were unsettling for me. And I'm going to take you back to 1987. I was in the Philippines. Had been there for about 2 years, almost 2.5 years when I was there. And at the time, I had about 2 weeks left in the country. And there was an incident that happened where they started getting radical Muslims in the country. So at one day, at the same time, in 5 different locations, they killed 5 uniformed service members, Air Force members, at 5 different locations, not too far from the base where we were stationed at. So when this happened, they put everybody on lockdown, went through all the things we go through. If you lived off base, they told you that you had to go home and that was it. Couldn't come out. You know, it's kind of a curfew type thing, if you want to look at it that way. So now I had 2 weeks left. And I remember being scared because we didn't know who, what, when, where, or why, because this was something that was just new in the Philippines. We walked freely around there. You had your things that you had to worry about, but we walked freely around there. And I went to one of the Filipinos that worked with me, local guy. And I said, hey, what's going on? Why did they do this? What's going on? And he looked me dead in the eye and he said to me, Brother Collins, you have nothing to worry about. I said, what do you mean I have nothing to worry about? He said, they will not kill you. I said, I'm a military member over here too, just like the guys they killed yesterday. He said, no. They will not kill you. You are a black man. Because they don't think that the United States cares about you. So they won't kill you. They will only kill the white men. And I stood there shocked, puzzled, and being a young man, 21 years old, relieved. Because I didn't understand the concept of what he was telling me until years later. Because in that moment, I was all about survival. That I would have nothing to worry about because I was a black man and they would not kill me. Not concentrating on the fact that the reason they wouldn't kill me was because the mentality was that the United States could give a damn about a black man's life. So they would not kill me. They would only kill the white military members, which is what they did. All 5 of those were white military members. And as I sit here today and I think about those things, that incident, it brought back a lot of memories with the George Floyd incident. And I'm not correlating that anything that's happened to me is equal to what happened to George Floyd. What I'm telling you is that when you're overseas and serving your country in a foreign country and defending the freedoms of everyone in this country, to hear that your life will be okay because you're a black man and the United States of America could give a damn about you if they were to kill you, it's a hard pill to swallow as you get a little older. At 21, didn't understand it. As you get older in life, it's kind of a slap in the face. You know, I was in Korea, and this is my second tour in Korea, and I was at a place called Daegu. And my secretary, because I wanted to go out and see, I said, I want to go into downtown Korea where there's not a lot of Americans that go. I want to go down and I want to see the essence of what Korea is about. So the contractor that worked for me, he told the secretary that worked for us, who was a Korean, to take me downtown. He paid for everything, take me to the dinner, place to sit down and eat and everything. So I could see everything about the Korean culture on my second trip. So we go out that morning, we're doing a lot of sightseeing and everything, and then we went to an open market. And in this open market, we're walking through. And while we're walking through this open market, there's kids. And the kids come up to me and they're grabbing my hand. And I'm not scared, I'm not nervous or anything like that, because my thing is, I don't think that they're going to bother me because I'm just out sightseeing or anything else, because Korea has tourists just like Europe has tourists. But what struck me was when the kids were grabbing my hand and my arm and they were doing this. And the Koreans were laughing and the secretary was laughing, who took me out there. And I asked her, I said, what's funny? Why are they laughing? Why are the kids doing that? And her comment to me was, they think it comes off, which is my melanin, my blackness. They think they can wipe it off because these are things that they see on TV and their movies. They think this comes off because they've never seen where we were at, a black man face to face, only in TV shows that are pumped in from the United States of America and things like that. And as cute as it may have seemed, it was very degrading, because these are the same people who thought we had tails at one time when we were serving our country overseas. Not me, but people before me. There were places they went to in Asia where we were thought to have tails. And you'll probably ask, why are you bringing this up? And I'm going to tell you like this. The perception of who we are as blacks, African Americans, military members, when we go overseas, the perception that these country folk, and when I say country folk, I'm talking about the local nationals in these countries, have of us, is what the image is that is portrayed about us through white media. These are things that are unsettling with me right now, because at this time, the way they are taking George Floyd, and they've done to Mr. Arbery and numerous others that I'm not even going to go through their names, but when things like this happen, to justify what they've done to us, They dig and they dig and they dig to assassinate our character, to make us seem less than, unworthy, as well as we deserved it. Now, I'm going to get back to the flag. When I first put my father's flag in a flag box at my retirement, when we did the flag folding ceremony and I was able to put my father's flag in a proper flag box, I had a certain feeling about the flag and the honor that came with it, that it was draped across my father's coffin for his service to this country. When I received my flag that was flown over the Pentagon for my 21 and a half years of service and was put into my shadow box, I was proud for the honorary service I served to this country. But as years have gone by since 2006 when I've retired, the stigma and the pride that I had about that flag, each year, each incident, it starts to diminish the shine and the pride that I felt about receiving both of those flags and displaying them proudly within my home. Now, some of you out there will say, well, you know, that flag is this, the flag is that. And I understand all that. I mean, I'm no dummy. I was in the military 21 and a half years, so I know what the flag represents when we talk about the military and we talk about the country. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is, as a black man, the chastisation and the misrepresentation of why and what Colin Kaepernick was kneeling about turns my stomach. It turns my stomach because I know the truth about why he took a knee. I know the meaning of the flag for the military and the country and everything else you want to include in that. But I refuse to allow people to misrepresent what we stand for when we feel injustices are being done to us as a people. And the first thing people want to do is throw the flag into the equation. No one that I can remember has ever said that what we're doing is against the flag. I've never heard anyone say that when we protest or anything like that is against the flag or what the flag stands for this country. The only thing that we want is to be able to practice and be given and be shown the respect of the freedoms that you said that flag stood for the people in the United States of America, not just the people of non-color. This is where the representation, the honor, That's where it dulls for me. I can't go back and change how I felt at one time. How I felt when I wore the uniform. How I felt when the national anthem was playing, or I was at ceremonies and taps was playing. The emotions that came over me because I was serving my country. But now I get to a point where I have to ask, when is this country going to serve me and the people that look like me the freedoms that I have fought for? I see the posts of how people have their opinions about the flag. I heard Drew Brees today, who mentioned about people kneeling and disrespecting the flag. Okay. But let me ask a question. When they bring up the fact that Colin Kaepernick and some other football players decided to kneel during the national anthem, my biggest question would be, when we talk about the national anthem, why does it seem that we omit everything other than the first verse? We, as a country, choose to highlight the good of the songs of patriotism, of what the flag means when it comes to patriotism. We seem to question people's patriotism and their heart when it comes to people of color, but we never question the heart and the patriotism of people of non-color. Why is that? We have fought in every war for this country. We have done everything that has been told to us, that is required of us to be able to so-called practice the same freedoms and receive the same freedoms of everyone else in this country. But when things like George Floyd happens, the freedoms that we thought we had really exposed themselves. And the people who have those freedoms expose themselves. Because those freedoms aren't for everybody. I'm just going to put it like that. They aren't for everybody. Because if they were, there would have been no question about the young man being gunned down in the street of Brunswick, Georgia, and why he was gunned down and who gunned him down. There would be no question about what the police officers did to George Floyd in Minnesota, because it was on camera, both incidents. When someone goes and they commit a crime and it's on camera, there's no question. They arrest the person at that time. They throw him in jail. They give him a hearing, a bond hearing at the time. But the main thing is he's arrested at that time. Those are the freedoms that we don't get. We are guilty until proven innocent. But everyone talks about you're innocent until proven guilty. Not for us. So I'm not going to go any further. This is something that I just had to get off my chest because I'm not okay. I am not okay. And it's probably going to be a long time before I become okay. And I'll leave it with this last thing. And I'm jumping around a little bit, but I'm just speaking from the heart today. The NFL, the owners, the coaches, the fans. Y'all could give a damn about what Colin Kaepernick stood for when he decided to kneel. The NFL put out this bootleg ass statement about the killing of George Floyd. But they had to be very careful and cautious in how they worded it. Reason being, they wanted to do everything in their power to not put anything in there that would show that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for the George Floyds. And for all you people out there of color and of non-color who still choose to support the NFL at this time, knowing that what they did to Colin Kaepernick was wrong, and you still choose to support the NFL, no matter if you're a diehard fan of any team, you ought to be ashamed of your damn self. And I will send it out to all the players. If they still decide to play for the NFL and in the NFL at this time, until change comes along, until something is done to some type of apology to Colin Kaepernick for what he stood for and how they blackballed him, they should sit out the whole damn season. But that won't happen. No, that won't happen. You know why? Because our allegiance goes like the wind. That's why we can't get anything done as a community. Because we pick and choose the battles we want to deal with. But as for me, I have some things I got to work out. Oh, yeah. I have some things that I have to look at without rose-colored glasses. I have some things that I have to look at in a different light. Because at the end of the day, I could have been George Floyd. And then I ask myself, if I was George Floyd, and I'm just going to use it, as Rodney Collins, and I was the one on that sidewalk with the knee on my neck, what would they have dug up on me? What would they have found in my system? What would they have done to try to justify my death at the hands of law enforcement who were not doing and arresting me in the manner that is by their procedures and policies? What? By the time they were done with me, I would have been George Floyd. I don't say that to disrespect him. I say that to shine a light. That we're all, as men of color and women of color, because we cannot forget Sandra Bland. But as people of color, we're all susceptible of who we are being diminished to fit the narrative that whatever happens to us was well deserved, no matter whose hands that our death may come as, or at, or to. I'm not okay. I'm not. None of us should be okay. Love yourself. Love one another. Keep your head up. Most definitely, keep your faith in God.